We have next is Deanne Stillman, who will be reading from her cult classic 29 Palms, and perhaps something else. Perhaps so. Deanne Stillman's latest book, Desert Reckoning, based on the Rolling Stone piece, won the Spur and LA Press Club Awards for Best Fiction, was an Amazon editor's pick and praised in Newsweek, the LA Review of Books, and many other places. She wrote the cult classic 29 Palms, an LA Times Best Book of the Year, which Hunter Thompson called a strange and brilliant story by an important American writer. She's also the author of Mustang, another LA Times Best Book of the Year, now an audiobook with narration by Angelica Houston, John Densmore, Francis Fisher, Wendy Malick, Richard Portnow, and more, and is currently writing Blood Brothers for Simon & Schuster. Her work has appeared in many publications, and she's a member of the core faculty at the UC Riverside Palm Desert Low Residency MFA Creative Writing Program. Ladies and gentlemen, Deanne Stillman.
Thanks so much for coming, everybody, and a big thank you to David Lott and Michelle Raphael of Angel's Flight. And I'm so excited to be on the advisory board and part of the Angel's Flight journey. Also, I'd like to thank Liska Jacobs and the Last Bookstore for letting us have our event here tonight. Okay, so here we go. First, just a little bit, a few words about my work. I break for sand, as I often tell my friends. The quick reason for that is I grew up in Ohio. I never much liked it. And my father would read the Edgar Allan Poe poem El Dorado to me as a little girl. And because I had longed to escape from Ohio, I began living inside that poem. And some of you may know it, and there's that refrain, gaily bedight, a gallant knight in sunshine and in shadow, had traveled along singing a song in search of El Dorado. I conjured up this desert sanctuary for me, and I would ride along in the night and you know, get away from the land of ice fishing and so on and so forth. And I knew that when I grew up, I had always wanted to be a writer, and I knew that when I grew up that would happen, and that it would happen out here. And it did. So here I am, and by the way, there's a much longer version of that story in the first issue of Angel's Flight called Ohio Girl, How I Traveled the LA, New York Fault Line and Found Home. So, okay, one day when I was wandering the Mojave Desert, and specifically Joshua Tree National Park, I went into my favorite bar in 29 Palms, the Josh Lounge, for a drink afterwards, and I sat down and I was listening to Blue Oyster Cult on the jukebox, which is another reason I break for sand. And I heard some people gossiping about two girls who had been, quote, unquote, sliced up by a Marine. And, you know, that was a pretty jarring remark. And I asked, you know, I said, well, who are these girls and what do you know about them? And then one of the guys said, just some trash in town. And that really upset me, because having spent a lot of time out there, I knew that there was much more to that story, and I knew some of the kids who lived there, and I knew about the culture around the Marine Corps and so on. And the story that information kind of rang me like a church bell on D-Day, and I knew that I was going to tell the story of these girls, and I just had to follow the path wherever it took me. And 10 years later, I emerged with my book. I emerged from the desert with my book, 29 Palms.